Okay, so now we're recording. Yeah. Um, so yeah, like I mentioned, with your work and my work here, I think there could be a lot of opportunities in the days and months and years ahead because with the advent of AI and automation and robots, a lot of people are very very concerned, very worried about what the new world is going to look like. And I think if anybody look at the news now, there are all talks about even software engineers, programmers like myself, they're being laid off left and right. And so
Hmm.
that's some people say that's the top top of the food chain. And
Yes.
and so in terms of intellectual activities and so on, so that becomes very scary for doctors, lawyers, accountants, all kinds of white collar professions. So yeah, it's very scary.
Well, also, it should be very exciting, at least for the millennials, because that's really eliminating a lot of the preliminary steps that used to be in the career change here in Los Angeles or the United States. Many of the corporations are now eliminating the requirement for certain college level educations to become part of their workforce. So
Mhm.
it is becoming more of a talent centered um, arena now, Patrick. So I
Oh,
know it's very scary for those at the top, but it does open up opportunities for those at the bottom, perhaps to achieve faster than they otherwise would have.
yeah, I think so. Well, definitely you can speak from a position of authority with regard to youth and so on. And I think that's why also like IITTI, we work with many different universities, so we got a chance to talk to many of the academia side people who are the thinkers and so on. They see that university degrees are not as important, still very important, but not as important as what kind of skills you have. And those are like a short diploma program, not necessarily a 4 year degree, but a short 3 months program. Learn how to be a prompt engineers. Now they call them a prompt AI engineers. How do you prompt the all that. Those are real new jobs, and uh, so those are the opportunities. Yeah, I agree with you. Those are the opportunities that can help a lot of people. I'll share with you a little bit more before we go into the real topic about the micro credentialing.
Uh-huh.
We work with the MIT Presencing Institute. There are a number of collaboration teams, and also with the Harvard's Inner Development Goals. And so collectively, we co-created new types of careers that are possible in the future. And so these are all post-labor, if you may, post-labor
Uh-huh.
AI
Uh-huh.
robot dominated world. Those are
Right.
jobs that are going to be required. And all of them require a certain level of soft skills, of empathy, of how do you deal with people, how do you care with people. And also there are economists who are saying that the GDP may not really be meaningful at all because if it is all going to be created by instead of the cheap labor in Africa and Southeast Asia, it's all going to be done by robots. What does GDP actually mean? Measuring how many pairs sneakers a robot can produce. They can
Well,
produce it all.
I have to also address that issue here in California because it's been determined that 40% of our labor in agriculture is are illegal aliens. Let's say people that are not undocumented, so to speak.
Mhm.
So even though they do contribute quite a lot for taxes, etc., it's very difficult to actually get a firm grasp of the true impact of the gray economy on our GDP. So I certainly agree with you 100% there, Patrick.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so they're saying that something like the World Civility Index. could come into or should come uh, into more prominence because that's what they want to measure. It's instead of measuring cognitive skills, the very high end, the doctors, the engineers, and so on. That's what humanity has always valued since the beginning of history because there was no AI. But now with AI, it flips the whole model around, and that is the cognitive skills. Anybody and their grandmother, including mine, can go on ChatGPT and have the world's best mind really to be answering your questions. So
Yes.
cognitive skills are no longer scarce. It is a commodity. And so in that regard, what should human be really valuing? Well, they're arguing that it should really value about human relationship in that regard,
Yes.
the
Yes.
empathy part. But unfortunately, for example, if you look at a nurse aide who actually care about the patient, change the bedpan and all that, they don't get value very much. They
Oh no, they're devalued. They're devalued, as a matter of fact.
they're devalued. So these Harvard people, MIT people are saying they should really re-educate the whole population, saying that
Okay.
it is the empathy. We should really value those nurse aid, for example. They should be
Uh-huh.
really paid better, having some
Right.
kind of living wage at least. And the more they can prove they have this kind of humanity training, meaning, for example, earning more points on the World Civility Index, the higher pay they will get in that
Got
regard.
it.
So instead of having people learning calculus and all that, they should be learning the psychology, the case studies, and all that about empathy, intercultural awareness, all that has been really brushed aside, should now really be in the limelight, they say.
Well, I agree with them completely, but I am also very much involved with several organizations. One of them is the Caregivers Association of America. And caregivers, as you know, would fall into that very same realm that you're discussing. So I do want to get to the point, Patrick, where we talk about how we can engage particular groups that are in my network with the work that you're doing there and how we can proceed to next steps. But I'll leave the floor open to you to make that decision how we can go forward.
Okay. I think it's definitely a wide open field. It's a blue ocean, some people would say in the business world. And that is, for example, the caregiver, all that. They would need to have more training to prove that they do have that kind of empathy, that kind of skill set, and so on, intercultural awareness. And so if they go into a family who is from a different culture, but you're
Uh-huh.
supposed to take care of the 85-year-old lady there, how
Right.
do you actually how do you actually talk to them? One of the um, one of the new profession is called a senatrix.
Okay.
A senatrix in Latin, I believe, it means healer.
Okay.
So a senatrax, these people are coining all the new terms because they want to be a completely different new set of rules. So
Yes. Yes.
instead of calling them a nurse aide, nobody respect a nurse aide because we are all set in our minds, the whole humanity is that. But if you change the dialogue, change the narrative and say, no, it's a senatrix. A senatrix is like it's almost like a doctor or nurse or somebody like or social worker and so on.
Uh-huh.
They are highly trained. Now it
Yes.
doesn't mean that is they have to pay $40,000 a year and go to some fancy school to get that. It should be very democratizing, something that is very easy. Anybody can do it, but they need to put in the effort to
Yes.
to show they have this kind of qualities, right? And so those are the center tracks is a new career. They go into homes and help elderlies into doing exercise. We're already starting something like this in Canada.
Okay.
There are old people who 80, 85 years old. The kids see that they are going downhill already. They can walk up the stairs, down the stairs, and all
Right.
that.
Right.
They they want a Cenetrax, for example. to go
Hmm.
into the home and help the elderly maybe 3 times a week to do
Hmm.
exercise,
Okay.
to be like
Okay.
like a coach, somebody to push them on. Otherwise, people have the inertia. They don't want to, but help them how to do the exercise, strengthen their legs so that they would have less chance of falling. And
Mm.
and so those are the new careers. And now it's not just that, but they're also the social part. So the 85-year-old couple, for example, they may want to go out to the bank to pay the monthly expenses and so on. They need somebody to do that, to help
Yeah.
them with that.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
Senate tracks will be going over there. It's almost like babysitting to help them, maybe even arrange social parties and so on. So that brings to the next career. The next career is called a praxis. A
Okay.
praxis is to do, and that is a cross between an event organizer and a social worker and so on. The idea is for praxis to organize neighborhood potluck dinners,
Oh.
neighborhood casual tea parties, and so on.
Oh.
So
Oh. Okay.
the reason is that the mental health issue is a big thing. There are a lot of
Yes.
people feeling isolated,
Yes.
young people, old people, something in
Mm.
between. So the idea is, for example, United Nations are saying this perhaps can really help in remending social fabric. So this is
Ah.
this is a bigger scale. The praxis is a bigger scale, whereas the Cenetrix is more of the one-on-one
Yes.
physiotherapist, kinesiology, all
Yes.
go into one in that regard. So they
Right.
require the training, but in the newer order, there could be online learning. They can learn it right on their cell phone, get the credits, get the credential, and show that they have this kind of qualification so that they can get these kind of jobs.
Mm. Well, how is it that we can connect the dots, Patrick? Because in many cases, the work that you're doing with, let's say, Harvard and MIT, they're related very closely to the academic world. But I'm very closely related to the vocational world. How can we bridge the gap and connect the two together?
I think the MITs and the Harvards of the world, they see the problem. So I think that's the
Okay.
main thing is they see it, they understand it.
Yeah.
Surprise with the MIT Presidency Institute, these are MIT people, a bunch of engineers and so on. The first thing they do is 1 minute meditation, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
so you see that, is that people, all the techies, they see that, it's not technology that will save the world. It's
Right.
something else. It's something
Right.
else. So um, the vocational side, right now we are just let me close the door. There's some noise.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
So we're also working with other institutions and so on in Canada to create to co-create some kind of a curriculum so that the vocational side, for example, like what I mentioned, the Senatrex and the Praxis, for example,
Hmm. Hmm.
can be rolled out in a bigger scale in that regard.
Okay.
So there are many sides. We have the side. One side is to have that kind of awareness, so the MITs and the Harvard groups can come in like that, and then we also need the implementers. Uh,
Okay.
Companies, this can create, a fertile field for new kinds of companies, if not unicorns, and that is commercial training companies to produce this kind of intellectual properties, these kind of IPs, so
Hmm.
that it can be used en masse. We're not talking about just a few hundred people, but
Okay.
hundreds of thousands, if not
Okay.
millions of people, just here in North America, just here in the USA, for example. And
Okay.
and so these are the things that the new terms, the Cenetrix, the Praxis will come in because it gives people the idea that wow, something new is happening, and this is for the new world order, and I can be part of it. So I think the ultimate message is to give people hope that in the future it can be very positive. and they're helping the United Nations Sustainable Development along the way when they earn, for example, the World Civility Index because we're a part of the game there in that regard. So we're building a new kind of a wheel, a good wheel,
Okay.
and
Okay.
we can all be, we think about, the cogs in the wheel, which usually have a negative connotation, but we can have a good wheel, and we're all part of that wheel. We're all part of that cog, what cogs in that wheel in that regard. So we're shifting mindset, and that's what the MIT and the Harvard Inner Development Goals people are saying. They're shifting the mindset to something that can really help, the masses, not just the elites in that regard.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to know that because one of the groups I work with here in Los Angeles is the Los Angeles Trade Technical College, and they were in a competition several years ago in England, and it was their team that brought students from the inner city to compete with students from places like Harvard and MIT, and even some of the top colleges in the UK and around the world. And our students won. So I'm in contact with that team that put those kids together. That's why I'm asking you specifically how we might be able to engage uh, the interim connections between the workforce and the executive team, which is colleges and universities, and particularly educational or vocational colleges and universities, or the teachers and their students.
Mhm. Yeah. Uh, Very, very important part, and that is how do we transition and how do we uh, not only not ruffle feathers, but let everybody know they have a definitely a place under the sun in
Yes,
this whole deal. And so if we align everybody to have the same vision, it can work wonderful. The elite colleges and universities, they definitely have a place, and they become the think tank in many sense, and they see how the future can roll out that possibility. And I think the reason why they invited us to be part of it is because they say, well, how do we really solve world problems? And it's not just people, but you need all the supply chain. You
of
need
course.
you need upstream the people to think about that, and then you also need people who actually can implement the thing. And I think our strong point at IITTI is we implement, we implement like hell. And so now with the World Civility Index and all that has been around for more than a decade. Uh,
Yes,
a lot of people, well, not a lot. It's still a drop in the bucket. 200,000 people sounds like a lot, but when you
it is.
but when you think about the whole world, it's not even a rounding error.
It's all in the context, though.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it shows that the fundamentals are quite sound. It's not like totally totally off. We still need to tweak a lot of things. A lot of things can be improved. We're running on a shoestring budget, so no investors or anything. We're not a startup. We're not a company. We're something that is a non-profit. And just the other day, some MBA group, they were talking, students talking to us, hey Patrick, but you need to maximize, the number of users. And we go, why do we need to maximize it? We're not trying to make money here. That's the thing.
Right,
We
right.
try to optimize. We're trying to show that people who have earned the World Civility Index points, they
Uh-huh.
deserve to earn it. So, if 80% of the people drop out of this e-learning thing, which which
Uh-huh.
is which is the normal thing in any electronic learning, digital first and so on, the dropout rate is horrendous. It's 80% dropout.
Wow. Okay.
So the MBA group say, Patrick, we need to minimize the dropout so that they maximize the number of people, maximize the profit, and so on. But we say no. The 80% who dropped off, let them drop off. The
Right, right, right.
the,
It's the
the
20%. It's the 20% that have the internal engine to complete the task, that are excited about it, that have value to the entire society.
Absolutely. So
So
yeah.
so let's look at this, Patrick. I'm just using, as a matter of fact, I'm one of those people that are just now taking a course on AI positioning and AI engineering, right? I just in the last couple of weeks or so, one of my passions is finding ways to use these tools to support causes I care about. I care about your cause. And it seems to me I have an incentive to assist you and accomplish your objective. So even if your target is not to get grantors and funders to support you and ratcheting up the number of people in volume instead of the value, I believe there are people willing to support your value proposition. So perhaps after this call, we can discuss ways we can move forward on that because I'm very excited about ways to find samples of the example. I don't have any pressure on me. No one's paying me to do this. I do it because I want to do it. But if I can have a success with causes I care about, that would bring me a lot of joy, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your confidence. And yeah, and thank you all these years you have been opening doors for me, for IITTI, and otherwise we would not be here. There are a lot of things. You introduced me to your good friends in India and so on. And believe it or not, one thing led to another. There are AI companies in India who are on the verge of signing an MOU with IITTI, for example. They want to do the role playing, the simulation using AI, and then they earn the World Civility Index points and so on. So one thing led to another, and it's a wonderful thing. These are, of course, India is a very populous country. A lot of young
Yes,
people who can use something like this.
yes.
And be the next Senatrex and Praxis in their own world. Plus a few more others. There are other careers that are unimaginable now. But if we talk about it, you would say, yeah, how come I didn't think about that? It makes a lot of sense. But there are challenges. The challenges is we need every stakeholder to play a part. The government needs to think about something like this. They now the some of these people, like I said, the MITs and the Harvards people, they talk about a UBI, the universal basic income, that
Right.
that would invariably, whether you like it or not, would come. And
Yes.
so instead of arguing whether it will come or not, just like in COVID, you have to give people some money. Otherwise, you can't have the
Right.
you can't have
Right.
the economy collapse on you. It just
Right. Right.
you just can't. And
Right.
so the next question is how do you prevent recreating lazy people? So
Okay.
and it's a very legitimate question, I think. So
Oh, yes.
yeah, so again, some of these smart economists say, hey Patrick, you should get the World Civility Index to be more in front of government policymaker
Oh,
because then you don't have just a one check one size fits all kind of a UBI, everybody get $1,000, but you can have a graduated UBI so that people who have more who shows more effort they put into humanity,
yes. Yes.
they can pay more. So all about the values of, instead of the cognitive skills, is the value on the humanity skills. So in other words, people who have more points of World Stability Index
Right.
get higher pay in that regard.
I'd love to introduce that here in the United States. As you may know, the welfare system in the United States that's been here since at least 1965 has created multi-generational populations of people who are capable of working but don't work and get paid. And the current administration is changing that paradigm around, even though there are really no jobs for all the people that are qualified and willing to work. So there's going to have to be a way to determine who among these people are ones that are eligible for the next step up. And it may well be, Patrick, that we can find a way to begin to evaluate the interests and skill sets of these people. And it may be they themselves who demand to have this once they understand the value of the outcome, which is for them to be more potentially desirable for people that want to put them to some productive use.
Yeah, they can become praxis. The social event coordinator for neighborhood meetings and casual meetings, just talk about anything under the sun. And these people who are quote unquote unemployed at this point, they have gone through hardship. They
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have gone through a lot. Those are the
Yeah.
exact people who can be very good praxis because they have gone through it, right? It's not like somebody who have got the silver spoon in their mouth and so on and just having theory, but they are the people who have actually gone through it. Now, if they go through this kind of praxis training, that is yet to be determined what the exact thing is,
Yes.
they can be mobilized. They can be going out there every time they do this kind of work. They also earn points. So that becomes the new currency of value that the society can put into people. The more points they get, they can maybe get some discount from grocery stores.
Well,
From
well, Patrick, can we now begin to allow them to begin earning points through the ITTI World Civility Index? Can we now begin to get them to register and participate? Because, for example, on August the 30th, I'll be having an event at Five Points Youth Foundation where we'll be celebrating our community leaders. And these are sometimes former gang members that have changed their lives around. Now they're gang interventionists. These are people that are working in their community to make a difference. I
yes,
would like to have them to be able to earn award points for the work I know that they've already done. And they have the empathy because they've demonstrated it in their communities. Is
yes.
there a way I could begin to introduce this in our local South Central Los Angeles area?
Oh,
Perhaps.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That can be done quite easily. These are the best people. These are the people like I said, they have gone through it. So yeah, it would really be useful. It's something to show that they have earned their keeps in that way.
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, how could I be able to afford them to be able to participate with it? Because in a lot of cases, these are people that, unfortunately, many of them were just recently terminated because the budget wiped out because the administration cut them off. So there are a lot of people now who have skill sets and are, I believe, the very salt of the earth, but they need to be able to be empowered to move to the next step. It might be that the work you and I can do to provide them with world civility points, a bank of points, could help them to move on. But
Yeah.
I don't know how they'd be able to afford it. I'd be willing to maybe try to go to find grants or other monies to help pay to get them scholarships if necessary. But what can we do, Patrick, to help people that are deserving of what the program was designed to do?
Well, I think you already said the magic word, some kind of a scholarship, and so that they don't have to pay, but they pay another way. They pay with their dedication.
Time and energy and effort and their life skills. I know they pay, but you
Yeah,
know what I mean, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very easy. What we do now, for example, in some community who cannot really pay, we give them what we call reading tickets. And it's just it's a piece of paper, and they can, every paper have a code, and they can enter the code, so they get credits in their
Okay.
account. So so
Okay.
so so it's like a phone card, like a value store card, and the reason is, you can actually have a physical paper. Those are the fertile ground for possible sponsorship. Why don't
Okay.
Starbucks or somebody like that, if they want that, they put the logo on there saying that this is what the
Right.
cause is, and you get 1,000 of these little piece of paper. It's very easy to print 1,000 pieces of these little tickets, and you just pass it out to the community, to
Well,
people. Yeah,
I'm glad you bring that up because Five Points Youth Foundation, uh, our director, they own the property where our venue is. Five Points is just like an open venue, right, where people have events. But the front part of this is a business called the Florence Mailbox and Business Center. We print paper, so we could become a hub of providing these incentives for people to come by and register with us, and we could become a hub, Patrick. So let's think about ways I can convert this opportunity to empower our community.
yeah.
South Central Los Angeles, where our location, Patrick, is only about 2 blocks away from where in 1992 unfortunately the civil unrest with the Rodney King riots and Rachel Jenny getting hit in the head with the brick and all that stuff. We're only a couple blocks away from there, but we moved there because there's a lack of business services in that area.
Hmm.
We've been there now since 2012, and
Yeah,
there's still a lack of business services in that area. But
yeah,
we provide mailbox services to people that are homeless or to veterans or people that have their own businesses, and we provide other support services like that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we want, and in the back, we have a community garden where we have kids learn how to grow food and prepare food and even sell food, right? But we do need a way to engage our community on a regular, ongoing basis. And perhaps this might be a way for us to become that hub
Yeah.
now as we go forward to the Olympics and we have other events happening in Los Angeles that needs to have our community to be an open place and an inviting place, and people need to know we're here. So this might be a way to help put us on the map, Patrick. So let's think about ways we can do that, please.
Absolutely, absolutely. My mind is racing. I see possibilities. I see, some of these people who are disenfranchised and so on. Uh, let's give them hope. And the idea of the Senate tracks and the praxis are really a message of hope. At this point, there
Hmm.
there's no solid curriculum. It's just in a very formative stage. But but
Right.
but but that's the hard part. It's the formative stage. But once the ideas is there, and we put one and one together, like what the people, the thinkers are thinking about, and with you being on the front line, I think we have the whole ecology. and
Well,
and
let's do
so
it. Let's
yeah.
do it. I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I really like. I'd like to launch this on August 30th, which is the end of the month, if at all possible. At least make some announcement about us doing this.
Yeah.
And from that point forward, as I said, this place could be a hub where people can come. Again, we print paper all day long, so we can create something with our logo on it, or we have to work out what that is. But I would love for us to be able to become that hub, Patrick. And this is my 10th year. I'm 67 years old. I want to be at this for at least the rest of the decade for the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah.
But I can't do it alone. So I
Yeah.
need to begin to put efforts into place that will survive me, so to speak.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's end of the month is not an issue. Like we got the IITTI group. We got the blessing of techies, a technology company behind us. We can print 1,000 of these tickets, or a million tickets, very easily. So the supply chain is not um, it's not too much of an issue. And if you can print it, and um, that will be good. Yeah. So let me write it down in that
Yeah,
regard.
think about this too, because in addition to our local event, I'll also be Zooming this event. So I'll be able to reach a worldwide audience with this event. And I would like for you guys to think about sponsoring us to reach a wider audience by sharing your own message. Maybe not ITT, I World Civility Index. Maybe we could sponsor you, but have your sponsors to help us reach a wider audience. This will be a day of sharing. We have events that are going on all day. Pat, let me take a step backwards. Back in 2016, we had an unfortunate murder here in Los Angeles by a very popular artist named Nipsey Hussle, and the we were able to reclaim an alley in the back of our location, and we use that as a wall of fame to celebrate Nipsey and other fallen heroes, but also to demonstrate graffiti art. That has grown into a world-renowned event every year. So on August 30th, all day long, we'll have artists from around the world. They're coming to commemorate events. And at the same time, we're celebrating our first international Goodwill ambassador, Silky D. Williams, who's a hip hop pioneer, and also my 10th anniversary as the founder of 5 Points Youth Foundation. All that happens at 4 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, we're having our grand opening ceremony to tell people about history, etc. And that's the time I would like to be able to share our collaboration with you and the World Civility Index for bringing this new solution to South Central Los Angeles and around the world. So I
Mhm.
need you to think about what we would say to that audience and how we can create promotional materials leading up to there, so that people will have a reason to tune in and leave with some way they can connect with what we're doing together from their own. How about that, Patrick?
What is the demographic of the audience like?
Well, here's the thing. For the last several years, we've only had in-person audiences, and these have been younger people primarily. These are people in the hip hop industry in Los Angeles, the entertainment world. So these are young people, typically, I would say 30 and under. But because we have pioneers of hip hop in their 60s, we do have their contemporaries. That might even include people like Snoop Dogg as part of our group, as part of our audience. People like Kendrick Lamar, they're part of our audience. So we have impact with influencers who have wider reach than we do ourselves.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, there's nothing to stop us to give you a QR code, so people who attended the event they can
Yes,
also earn points, and
yes.
these points it could be like $1 per point, and people can, some people who are able to afford it can sponsor to buy maybe 1,000 tickets
Yeah,
or 50 tickets, and they pass it out to all the people who can't afford it, and
right.
everybody can earn points just to have the idea of that reading ticket being the vehicle of money transaction in that regard, and so
I'm glad I'm glad you thought of that, Patrick, because so far, unfortunately, I've been doing all this work on a pro bono basis, and the people that are doing these events have all been doing it on a pro. It's all free. So I think, if we come up with a way, I think everyone could be able to afford at least $1 to come to this event. So I think I'll think about ways to do that. And I'm glad we're having this conversation because we do bring value to the community. And it's only fair that we begin to acknowledge that that value has to be returned. So,
yeah. Bringing $1, if there's 100 people showing up, the proceed can go to your cause, for example. That would at least offset some of the costs in.
it's going to cost, it costs every year about $2,500. So we're not expecting to get money to repay us, but we do want to begin to have the public understand that there is a value of it. And we want to be able to have them to leave with something that will keep them coming back or give them a value beyond the day's event. That's what I'm thinking about. The IITTI World Civility Index might be able to be giving them an incentive to earn points. And so they can either buy points or earn points.
Yes, that they can buy points, not for
Yes,
just for themselves, but for others. There are people who are thinking, there's the so-called silver economy. The people
yes,
who are older and so
elderly.
um,
Yes,
instead of having grandma, grandpa buy another Nintendo or whatever the
yeah,
latest,
yeah, 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 yeah,
right? Why
yeah.
can't they buy these reading tickets for their grandkids? During Christmas time, they can just buy these tickets from you, and they can just give it to as a gift to their grandson, to their granddaughter, for example.
Right.
Those are ideas that how you can use the reading ticket as a vehicle of converting points to money in that regard.
Well, let's take time between the now and the end of the month to work that out. But how soon do you think we could begin to get the QR code to introduce this to those people that want to register? I've just set up the Eventbrite page and I've set up the Facebook event page, so we can always edit it. But let's start thinking about this. Maybe by the weekend, Patrick, we can come up with something, and maybe next week do a soft launch and let people know that they can attend our event and also earn a point or
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah. The other thing, Andrew, that you can generate money just by the very thing you're doing now is this whole event can turn into one micro lesson. One
Okay.
micro lesson, take some videos, maybe have you speak in front for just, 15, 20 seconds,
Uh-huh.
short 3-minute lesson. It can be
Okay.
a 3-minute video that
Yeah.
introduce the whole idea and the concept behind your event. That
Really? Oh,
that itself can be one micro lesson that we can share with the world.
well,
So,
what about this, Patrick? We have, I would say we have at least a dozen participants that can create a 1 to 3 minute video like that. So it doesn't just have to be me, but then what? Then what? What do you recommend that we do after we do this creation? What's the?
okay, what you do is you put that on social media
Okay,
and or medium.com.
okay,
Medium.com is somewhere where you can put I've never used it, but that's what my some of the team members say, hey Patrick, we should get onto Medium. So well, what was this Medium? I'm pretty ignorant. And so they say, no, Medium is where it's like a blog. You can put your cause on there and the whole world can see it. You put in some the things and people can search for it. And so those are
okay,
things where you get a QR code and you put it on there, and people who see the cause, who want to do something like this, they can also try to earn 1 point. And every time they earn a point, they pay $1, and we can revenue share with you. So IITTI will get a cut, your organization will get a cut, and whoever
okay.
else, UN, we have slated 20% of every dollar, 20 cents go to UN. So
Excellent.
those are the things, those are the narratives we can build and saying that you earn a point. It's not only for you, but you're contributing to this big wheel. And this is the goodwill of United Nations of trying to solve world problem. So we can all contribute in that sense. So everybody get a sense that we're all in it together.
I love it. Yes, yes, and yes, Patrick. Is all I'll tell you.
Okay. So those have been done, and so hopefully, this won't have too many glitches. So that's what I'm thinking as from an executor in that regard.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
yeah. So yeah. Why don't we go offline? What I'll do is I'll write up a little concept of what we have talked. Well, no, you got this AI meeting, so
Yeah, I'm
so
gonna send this over to you to see how it works.
yes, yes. I,
Yes,
I think yeah, you can send this over to me,
yes.
and I'll give you a QR code. I'll show you some examples of what we have done. There are many,
Okay.
and so yeah. So this will be possible. What I need from you is to have a title. There are two things. I need a title from you and a description, so
Of
that
what? Of
of,
the
of
event or what?
yes of the event, so
Oh yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah, so that when our team create the QR code for you, uh,
Yes.
that QR code will have all that information encapsulated inside that QR code.
Oh, perfect. If could I share my screen briefly?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see here. Uh, Give me just 1 second here. Okay. So this is not this one here, but I need. Oh, sure. That was my previous research. Let me find where I want to show you. Oh, right here. So I'm gonna. Hmm, I'm trying to find the right screen. Give me just a moment here, Patrick. Here it is. So this is my Facebook page, and this is the event right here. Oops. This takes a moment to reorient. So here's the event right here. This is what the event is from the local perspective. This is what's going on. Um, but we do have a worldwide audience, and I set up an Eventbrite page to let people zoom in to attend. So it's not just people that are walking into our place, but it's also those people that can join in by Zoom. So I'm
Mhm.
going to scroll down a little bit here, and obviously this is all on my Facebook page, but it is a place where I'll likely be streaming the events from the 30th here on this page. This is where I have about 5,000 members, on my Facebook page. Not all of them watch it, but many of them do come here to find out what's going on in our extended world.
Mhm.
Uh, I was trying to find the Eventbrite posting, but I've been very active here, Patrick. So the short answer is I'll send you the title and I'll send you the title and the description. So that's the short answer.
Okay.
I'll just send you the title and description. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for this time, Patrick. I really appreciate your committing this collaboration together, and I look forward to ways we can make this thing work for all concerned.
Okay. Thanks so much, Andrew.
All right, and I'll send over the AI summary as soon as I get it. I'll send it to you. Have a
Okay.
wonderful day, Patrick.
Okay.
All
Bye-bye.
right, bye.